So hi there, thanks for checking out my videos here on YouTube. I do greatly appreciate it. If you could subscribe, that would be wonderful. It would allow me to get into a little better equipment and be able to provide maybe a little more of a finished video content for you. So I thought I'd do a little update. I'm in my little Chevy Cruze. It's 2014, a very nice little car, doing very well with it. But I am putting it up for sale. So it is going on Kijiji, and we're going to post it. And the main reason being is that in January, my insurance costs are going to go up. Again, it's about a 30% jump, and it makes the Cruze, when you're looking at the expenses, if I'm renting it out at $35 or $42 a day on Kijiji, and I'm booking it out for 10 to 15 days, by the time I pay that new insurance cost, along with maintenance and a few other little things, it's almost a break-even point. So it's one of those things when I look at it from a numbers-wise, I go, well, if I get out of the car and sell it and break even, in other words, I've covered my cost of the vehicle, the repairs that I've made, and take care of the taxes, which I think I can do, and basically just kind of walk away with my hands clean of it, maybe a little bit of a profit, but nothing major. I can roll that into another 7-passenger SUV. I do find that with the Outlander that I have, the insurance cost is, even when it goes up 30 points, because I can get between 72 and 85, on the low end maybe 65. Because of that increase as a daily rate, I can cover that insurance cost and I can still maintain a certain profit with it. So again, it's one of those things where I look at it and go from, okay, do I have a car that's a budget item as kind of like a lost leader that'll allow me to get more clients and perhaps more 5-star ratings like a Chevy Cruze would do? Or do I say to myself, let's bite the bullet and get into another Outlander or move into something a little more unique, maybe a Land Rover, something along that line, or the Jaguar F-Pace, which is their little crossover SUV. So I've been looking at those, and the costs have come down as far as the purchase level on those quite a bit. So if I go to an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old product, I'm into that 9 to maybe 15 range as far as price point is concerned. I'm getting a little more in the daily rental, and I'm covering the insurance costs a little easier on that, and I'm into more of a luxury item, which is more of an appeal as far as what's out there. Again, I picked up the Cruze because it was a local car. I wanted to give it a try. It's a nice little vehicle. I paid a reasonable price for it. I paid to have it in safety and everything all done. So in other words, there's a cost to it, of course, but it doesn't seem to work well on Turo when you look at the numbers. If I were in the GTA, I don't know if it would work either, because I think my insurance costs would be higher if I were into a large urban area. I think Toronto area, you pay more for insurance because of higher theft rates, higher volume on the roads, the nature of it, right? Whereas up here, where I'm out in Atwood, the insurance is, well, it's not great, but at least it's justifiable from that standpoint. So that's where I'm at as far as the update on the Cruze. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I've placed it on Kijiji because it's free, and figured give it a shot there. And wow, so it is. Some of the responses are strange, just as far as that's concerned. People are unrealistic, I think, on what a reliable car costs in today's market. So I'm asking about $6,000 for it, which is what the MTO, Ontario Service Canada, says it's valued at. And I can kind of work from there and go from that standpoint. I'll probably take less for it. That's just the nature of it. And I'll still be within that washout without much of an issue with it. And I think it's a nice little car. The remote start's great. It's been minus 18 today, so it's very cold. So hitting that remote start prior to coming out to do the video and to go for a little run to the dollar store and do a little grocery shopping at the local Save on Foods, that type of stuff. It's nice for that, as far as that's concerned, doing little runs. Snow tires are like brand new, so it's great in the snow. Traction control is working wonderful, so no issues from that standpoint. So it's a solid little car, right? It's not rusted out, it's not beaten to death, it's been well maintained. So those are things that, I guess as a first-time buyer, some folks don't understand the value in that. And they kind of go, okay, well, I can buy another one for cheaper, but you kind of go, well, that one has no quarter panels on it. The tires are bald. The brakes are not new. things along that line. And you go, well, it doesn't come with a safety certificate, like it hasn't been inspected. So of course that brings the value points down. And like I get it, because I bought a few cars. You kind of go, if I got a great deal on it, I've got to do something major to it. It's not such a great deal, right? So again, I think for that $6,000 mark, I think it's a pretty fair car from that standpoint. The car market seems to be a little crazy as far as that's concerned. So November, let's talk about that. So November was pretty decent. I got the Outlander out for almost 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks of total billing, which is great. So paid for itself, a little bit of a profit. Well, not profit, it's buying itself down. So in other words, I paid for that car, it still owes me that money back. So it's on track as far as being able to say, okay, 9 months or a year from the date of purchase, it'll draw enough in to be able to wash that out to say, okay, well, now I've got that car paid for, and then we'll assess it at that 6-month point, which is coming up pretty quick, and say, okay, well, do we stay on Turo? Is it still something worthwhile? I think on the Outlander, it's still doable. But I think on the small compact car or the midsize, I don't think just based on the insurance cost and just your cost of operation, this car doesn't work for that. So again, that's where we're at from that standpoint. If I get into another SUV, again, for Turo, I think I'm going to go Land Rover, just because it's on my bucket list of cars I like to own. And I'll probably end up going with an Evoque. I'll probably end up getting something from 2014. So I'll probably get something that's not loaded, no nav, just nicely equipped with leather and a few nice little items, just so you can say, hey, you're in that platform. I don't think the nav packages from that era are that great anyways. And I think most people like myself, we use the phone now, right? So, or we bring along a little GPS and attach it to the dashboard. I don't think that a 10-year-old nav system is really anything extra to pay for. I think it's more of a nuisance, because you're going to look and kind of go, well, now it's got satellite radio, XM. No one uses that. So it's kind of just a reminder of how old the car is. So it's one of those things where I'll be looking for a basic one from that standpoint, with leather and a couple little options, but nothing major. December, I had the Outlander booked, and then it got canceled. Had it booked out, pre-booked for a week, and then another pre-book for 3 days. The weather's been really bad the first start of December, so I think that quashed someone's road trip. So again, understandable, but I couldn't get a booking like the next day, or I seem to do well with people will come out to Atwood or Listowel from Kitchener if they're taking a vehicle for 2 weeks. Like they'll make the drive out. Like that's not a big issue from that way. It's 45 minutes. It's not a end of the world thing. Local, I haven't really had a lot of those yet. So, and I don't think I will, because the population is a little smaller out here. And I don't think Turo really markets in rural environments. So it's one of those things where unless you've searched for it, you know that you can get a peer-to-peer car rental. It's just one of those things that it's just not a big draw out here for that purpose. So it seems to be that 1 to 2 week booking, and there's a good discount on it for that reason. It becomes very competitive, and someone will go, okay, well, I can get my mom to run me out, or I can get my wife to run me out, or someone will give them a lift up here for it. So it seems to work well as far as that's concerned. I've had a couple inquiries in January for a 1 month rental. I don't know how far that's going to go, because it's a corporate client, and it's one of those things where I kind of look and I kind of go, couple hurdles with Turo on that one, multiple drivers. It's one of those things where I kind of go, well, I'd sooner just have it cut and dry. And if you had one person, you said, okay, no, it's the offsite manager is going to drive it, and that's his license, and he's responsible for it. I would probably say, yeah, that would make sense. But corporate bookings, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. If you're a Turo operator out there or a host, and you kind of go, Keith, no, they work wonderful. It just seems to be a slippery slope when it comes to multiple users, issues with liability. Insurance coverage becomes a problem because they're running a commercial insurance. So there's other hurdles involved with that in Ontario as far as if it's a commercial vehicle, it needs to have a yellow sticker. I don't know if you can rent a Turo vehicle and say, okay, you're going to put tools in the back and run it to job sites, whether that needs a yellow sticker or not. So it's one of those things where I think I'm going to stay in my lane and just say, okay, well, no, it's for personal use only. But I've had a couple of those so far. So I think what's happening, I think Tilden or some of the major rental companies have looked at it and said, it's not worth the hassle booking to you. And now they're looking for other sources. So that's probably what's going on with that, or they've marked their prices up exponentially for corporate. I don't know. It's just one of my little theories, because I've had a couple inquiries on it. So it's one of those things from there. December basically is a write-off, and I kind of realized that going in. So no real bookings. I've got the vehicle down in storage. Local storage is pretty reasonable. For a parking spot, I'm paying $40 for a keypad entry and full security. So you can't go wrong with that. So I moved it over there. Plus, it's a nice and easy accessible item for someone who, if they were going to do I need the car today, I can say, well, here's the key code to get in. And then I've got a lockbox with the key in it. So now it's kind of a double coverage. So you kind of go, okay, well, you have to have the access to the storage area, and you have to have access to the key box, which is a code. And then you also have to have authorization. There's a security guy that sits there all day. It's like, okay, so-and-so's coming down to pick up the car. Throw them a cup of coffee and a donut, be friendly. And they seem to be pretty happy about that. And they just say, hey, there you go, in and out, fine, no problem. So that's been working out okay. So that moves everything kind of away from my place. So it's kind of off-site a little bit, so out of mind. So, but December's been zero. So it's been a dead month for me. But I kind of factored that in, thinking, okay, December would be. Now we've had a couple good snowstorms and a couple good little runs with bad temperatures and things along that line. But I'm driving by the local rental agency. They still have cars out front. So clearly there hasn't been any major accidents or vehicles off the road because of that. So usually what you'll find in Ontario is that first snowfall, you get a bunch of people in the ditch and their cars end up in the shop. Just the nature of it. And that's usually where you get a little bump. Didn't see that this December. So better drivers. I think snow tires are a little more common this year than following. So I think that's pretty decent. So that's where we're at. December's pretty much a dud month. January looks to be okay. Like it looks to be getting some bookings, at least some general inquiries. So hopefully January will offset December. But again, kind of factoring in, you have to have a slow month. So that's basically it. I try and keep this little in-car type of conversation under 15 minutes. I'll try and do an at-the-desk review where we kind of look at paperwork and go from there. But I haven't posted anything recently. Again, I've been kind of preoccupied with work. Had a little bit of the winter flu there for a little while too, so I wasn't feeling 100%. So again, a couple of reasons as to why I wasn't posting anything. But hopefully these little Turo videos help you out and you get an idea what Turo is like in Southern Ontario. And again, as a starting host, I'm trying to be very realistic and tell you exactly what's going on. And we'll go from there. So again, thank you very much for checking out the videos. If you could subscribe, that would be great. Thumbs would be wonderful as well. Comments are wonderful too. I do like those. Again, I'm at about 275 subscribers, which I find pretty amazing. It would be nice to get to that 500 mark. That's kind of a New Year type of thing. I don't think it's going to happen, but it'd be kind of nice to be able to hit that little peak and go from there. The other one is I'm still shooting for that 1,000, so I can get monetized, so we can start running some ads and maybe make a little bit of money off these as well. And again, just to be able to offset and say, okay, now I can go buy some nice gear, maybe get a nice little lapel mic, maybe get a nice little camera, and get set up properly. So far, I've been using my my phone, which is a nice little Google phone. There's a little plug for Google. It's an older one. I think I have a 5 series. So, and it's the larger screen, so it works really well. I do like it. Problem with it doesn't have an auxiliary for a lapel mic or a few other little things, which I do find a little annoying on my older iPhone 6, which I replaced with this one, which we're going back a year ago or so anyways. It had that ability to do the lapel mic, but this one doesn't. So again, thank you for checking out the videos. I do appreciate it. I do know I kind of go off because I don't script anything. So again, talk to you later.